Today, I'm going to be talking about how to take care of yourself in practice. Hi there, I'm Dr. Mulrooney, owner of My Business Doctor Inc. And I'm excited to share with you today 5 secrets to being able to take better care of yourself in practice. The fact is, if you get injured or you get burned out in practice, you become less useful to your patients and your team. And it's important to make sure that you are in top-notch condition, especially if you are trying to take your practice to the next level. Dental school? It selects for type A personalities, so I'm sure that many of the things that I did in practice that put me to the point of burning out are what you're experiencing as well. However, I did figure out a formula in order to prevent that, so I want to share that with you now. The first secret to taking care of yourself in practice is taking care of number 1. I know it sounds selfish, but the fact is, if you aren't well, you aren't going to be able to give your best. So if you are starting to get repetitive strain injuries or your back is starting to hurt and you aren't giving yourself time to actually recover and take time away from the practice to get better so that you can come back at full capacity, you're not doing yourself any good and you're not doing your patients any good. So make sure that you actually do take care of yourself. And that may mean that you disappoint a few people in your practice. They may have to move their appointment back. What happened with me in practice, I ended up pushing it to the point where I ended up getting injured to the point that I couldn't practice anymore. And yes, there was genetic predisposition to it, but I sped up that process and put myself out of practice sooner than I potentially could have if I had been taking better care of my breaks and making sure that I was actually giving my hand rest instead of pushing. In fact, I was in so much pain for 3 months before I couldn't practice anymore. And I was scared to let my patients down. But the thing is, I really let them down because I ended up injuring myself and putting myself out of practice. So what good was it to actually push through that pain? The second secret to taking care of yourself in practice is making sure that the practice is working for you. If you don't want to be working 6 days a week, why are you? If you don't want to be doing certain procedures, why are you? The fact is, especially when you're an owner, you have a choice in what you do in your practice, and you want to make sure that the practice is serving you. Yes, you have a team that you want to employ and you want to keep them happy, but in the end, you are the one taking all the risk. You are the one who, if you're gone, you're not really that replaceable. So you want to make sure that what you're doing in practice is making you happy and also advancing the skills that you love to do. The third secret to taking care of yourself in practice is making sure that you pay yourself first. You want to make sure that you are getting a regular salary that is non-negotiable with yourself so that you are actually able to start saving as well for your personal as well as investing in your practice. If you are just going and buying all those shiny objects that come out on the market, that gets really expensive really fast and can dig you into a bit of a hole so that you aren't actually getting the same income that you would have if you were an associate. So I want to make sure that you set up and stick to a salary that you can work with every month. The fourth secret to taking care of yourself in practice is getting insurance. Now, I know insurance seems like it's so expensive. However, if it comes down to it that you get injured or you have to take a break from your practice to recover from something, that's what insurance is for. And when I was in practice, I thought I was invincible. I thought I was going to be able to do dentistry forever. And the fact is, I was 32 when my career ended as a clinical dentist. And if I hadn't had that insurance, I would have been in so much trouble. And it took actually 6 months for that insurance to kick in. And by the time it actually did kick in, the fact is, I was almost bankrupt. The cost of covering overhead in your practice if you get injured is huge. And even if you have a good savings, which I did, it is like a flood of money out of your account when things go awry with your health. So I really do advise you to get yourself well insured so that if something does go awry, you have that buffer to save yourself with. And honestly, that will help you to sleep at night, especially if you're starting to get repetitive strain injuries. You know that you have that money saved. You know that you have that insurance that if worst case scenario happens, and it can happen to any of you, no matter how good of a care you think you're taking of yourself, it will actually be of benefit to you if push comes to shove. And the fifth secret to taking care of yourself in practice is my favorite: take vacations. In practice, if you keep working and working and working and not taking a break, you know what is going to happen? You're going to get dumber. Let's be honest. If you're burned out, you're not as smart. You're not seeing the whole picture anymore. You are just reacting to everything as it comes at you. If you actually take a moment to take a pause and step away from the practice, even if it's 1 week vacation every few months, which I actually recommend a 1 week vacation after every 6 weeks of work, so that you can sharpen the saw and make sure that you are getting refreshed. If you are that type A personality and you're really acting on it and really trying to push yourself in practice, you need that break to recover. Not only physically, but mentally as well. And you'll be surprised at the insights that will come to you when you actually start taking that step back from the practice and not even trying to evaluate it when you're away, but when you come back, you will see it with fresh eyes, and that will help you even more to take your practice to the next level. So in summary, number 1, take care of number 1. Number 2, make the practice work for you. Number 3, pay yourself first. Number 4, make sure that you have insurance in case worst case scenario happens. Number 5, take regular vacations and sharpen the saw regularly. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you haven't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, you can do so right here.